What's happening, YouTube? I'm Josh Tedder for 6 Months Later, and today we have our very first look at the Google Home Mini, the newest product in the Google Home family. Priced at $49, the Google Home Mini will go head-to-head in the smart speaker space against Amazon's Echo Dot. Now, when I opened my Google Home Mini, one of the first things that struck me was just what a nice packaging job Google does. They've done this with a lot of their products recently. Their packaging job reminds me a bit of Apple. You just open the device and boom, there's the Google Home Mini. Now, when I opened up the box and first saw the Google Home Mini in person, one of the things that really struck me was it was a lot bigger than I was expecting. Now, of course, yes, it is much shorter than its big brother slash sister, the Google Home. However, the circumference of the Google Home Mini is comparable to that of the Google Home or slightly larger. When you pick up the Google Home Mini, it's got some weight to it. The device does not feel cheap at all. The design looks really nice too. Again, I'm a big fan of what Google has been doing with their hardware design recently. They are consistently creating products that look like they're meant to be placed around your home. Now, once turned on, the Google Home Mini will prompt you on what you need to do next to complete the setup. And when it does that, you'll notice how clear the sound actually sounds coming from the Google Home Mini.
Welcome to Google Home. To get started, download the Google Home app on a phone or tablet.
It's a $50 speaker, don't get me wrong, this is not a Bose or Sonos speaker quality here. But still, for 50 bucks, it's pretty impressive, especially with people's voices. Now, I don't have an Amazon Echo Dot, unfortunately, to compare it to, so I can't compare them head to head, but it sounds really nice. And I think if you get this and like playing podcasts or want to listen to the news in the morning, you're going to be happy with the way it sounds. Now, if you're going to play a lot of music on your Google Home Mini, that's kind of up in the air. I did notice the sound quality for music is not as good as the Google Home, and definitely not if you're going to use a Chromecast audio and plug it into like a Bose speaker system or Sonos speaker. Now, setting up the Google Home Mini is a breeze. It's very similar to the other Google Homes I've already had to set up, as well as my Chromecast and Chromecast audio devices. Although Google has added some really nice animations into their app when you set up the Google Home Mini. Now, one thing I noticed this time around setting up a Google device is that Google has added a feature in the setup process where you can check a box and have it save your Wi-Fi network settings and your Wi-Fi network password so that future Google devices you set up, you don't have to type in the password again. And one of the other things I noticed with the Google Home Mini is this device can get pretty loud. The way you adjust the volume on the Google Home Mini is you just tap one side of the device to turn the volume down, and then you tap the other side to turn it up. It works pretty well. Now, another thing I noticed with the Google Home Mini was that the microphone pickup on this device is surprisingly very good, just like the Google Home. Even when you're playing a podcast or music, I found the Google Home Mini hears me just as consistently as the Google Homes I have can. In certain situations, I've also noticed the Google Home Mini will actually pick up my voice and answer even though I'm a little bit closer to a Google Home device. Now, this could be because of echoes or reverberations off the wall, but it seems like the microphones of the Google Home Mini are quite good. Now, one feature the Google Home Mini doesn't have that the Google Home currently has is the ability to pause music or a podcast by just tapping the top of the Google Home Mini, like you can do with the Google Home. You also can't summon the Google Assistant from the Google Home Mini by doing a long press on the top of the device. Now, the reason for this was when Google gave out Google Home Mini beta devices to journalists, some journalists found that this function was not working correctly, so Google just decided to disable it. Now, another feature noticeably missing from the Google Home Mini is the ability to tell the Google Assistant on the Google Home Mini to mute the microphone. So using your voice to just mute the microphone. Now, the reason for this is probably because the experience on the Google Home Mini was a bit inconsistent with how to mute the microphone. So it seemed like some of the journalists were able to do this before the release to the general public, where you could tell Google to mute the microphone. However, if you did that with a Google Home Mini, what would happen was it would mute the microphone, but then if you wanted to unmute it, you would have to go to the device, turn the switch to mute, and then turn it back to unmute. So you had to do like two switch maneuvers there. And it probably would have been better if Google had just put a button on the back of the Google Home Mini like they did with the Google Home device. And this is something that you previously were also able to do on the Google Home, but when I tested it, now it seems that Google has just disabled this feature entirely on both the Google Home and the Google Home Mini. Now, with the stumbles out of the gate aside with the Google Home Mini, I still think this is a really great product. A lot of people are going to be getting these things during the holidays, and I think it's going to be a really great introduction to the Google Assistant for a lot of people. It looks great, it sounds pretty decent, and it gives you all the functionality you get with the Google Assistant on the Google Home. Now, if you're watching this video and are completely new to the Google Home experience, I think you're really going to enjoy getting a Google Home Mini if you're thinking about it. Now, if you're curious at all about what the Google Assistant can do to improve your life, definitely check out my original Google Home 6 months later review. I'll make sure to link it to this video. I go over the core features of the Google Assistant and what you can do with it. And I also have a Google Home Features Update video. Now, when I did the Google Home Features Update video, I actually put it out right before Google announced the Google Home Mini at their October 4th event. And when they announced the Mini, they also announced a ton of new Google Assistant features. So definitely be on the lookout for those videos and subscribe to the channel so you'll get notified when those videos drop. Until then, thanks so much for watching. For 6 months later, I'm Josh Tedder.